What is up, NFL fans, and welcome back to another episode of The Way We See It. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by Wesley Coleman. We continue our deep dive into the hot topics surrounding the National Football League. I'm sure we'll talk about arrests at some point during the show, but Wesley, what's going on?
What's up, man? We're getting not too far away from people actually showing up to football camps, right?
Yeah, teams have actually, rookies have started to report for some teams. I think that there's different, I guess, realms of you have a rookie coach, you can come at this time, all this stuff. But still, we have a lot to talk about. I have to be honest. I watched a little bit of the home run derby for Major League Baseball. Did you catch any of that?
Yeah, I probably watched a total of 30 of the home runs.
Okay. Well, that could have been one person. I mean,
Right.
the way they do it now is so different. But I was watching it, and I couldn't help but think, man, this is not what it used to be. And I'm not here to wax poetic and be nostalgic about what it was when we were younger in terms of the home run derby and the players that participated. But I just couldn't get out of my head how the National Football League, it absolutely reigns supreme over everything else. And even though the regular season numbers dipped in terms of viewers a little bit, I think 2.2% last year, Wesley, what do you think is the main reason why NFL football, and maybe this is another level of the discussion, why does the NFL reign supreme in your opinion?
Well, I think one, just every play matters. There's not an at bat where there's 11 pitches where nothing happens. There's not it's quick. There's always something going on, and we're right into like there's something to diagnose on every play, and they do a good job of showing the play live, showing the play in the replay, and then there's the next play that's live. So it constantly keeps it going.
I think that the shorter, it's not a short season. The season is long enough, but there's only one game a week. I think people can. This is where it doesn't make sense to me. Our attention span as a society has gotten significantly shorter, yet we tend to gravitate to the sport that plays the least amount of games. That doesn't make sense, does it?
And maybe that actually helps. Is it? There's a long off season. There's less games during the week. It's makes you're craving it, and you're wanting it. And so I also think, but though, having less games makes each game more important. True. So and it makes the games of the teams that aren't your favorite team more important. So it makes I think there's way more football fans that will watch every football game than there are like baseball fans watch their team. Basketball fans watch their team. And it's rare that that you're watching a game of that one of your favorite teams isn't in. Same with hockey.
I agree. I'm not watching just some random baseball game on a Saturday or Sunday, but if it's an NFL game on, I don't care if it's Jaguars Titans. I'll probably tune in if it's a Thursday night game.
There's also a pretty interesting thing with football, and this is in college football and NFL football. So you have your favorite team, and you're like, well, once my team out, like even in college football, you're like, yeah, but the SEC is going to dominate. Like, I hate those SEC teams during the regular season, but get to bowl games, I want them to win because I want everybody to know that the SEC is the best. Same thing, like where, I'm sure you find it conflicted too, where there's times you're like, yeah, my team might be in third place, but I want everybody to know that we have the best division in football. Sure. With the best quarterbacks in football, having the best competition. So it's like, maybe you don't want the Ravens and the Bengals to win, but you're like, but if they do, it looks really good for my division.
We're well represented for sure. It's like if the Steelers don't make it in, but the Bengals and Ravens do, and you're like, hey, the AFC North is
maybe
tough.
We were the second best team.
Yeah, maybe.
You always have that argument.
There are people in this debate has been discussed on a bunch of platforms for a long time, and there's a lot of people that say, well, it's the gambling. I don't buy that either. People can gamble on anything. We saw this about 2 weeks ago. You can bet on a pitch, meaning the first pitch of the third inning with Luis Castillo on the mound for the Cleveland Guardians. Is it a strike or a ball? I do think gambling helps, and I think fantasy football being as big as it is helps. But people that say that, oh, well, NFL is king because of the gambling, You can gamble on anything now. It's not illegal unless you live in one of those few states in the country that still hasn't legalized it. I'm not buying that either.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I
You're
think
buying. So how's it
yeah.
any different though? How's it any different? So baseball, I could bet on the pitcher. I could bet on the over/under. I can bet on the spread. I can bet. There's a million games, and I have 162 games per team to gamble on.
Yeah, but I think that the ability you feel incorrectly that you're able to better possibly be right when again you're only having to learn 17 matchups, right? And actually with your division stuff or whatever, 13 matchups, and like you're having to only diagnose a few things to try to feel like you have a chance to win. Where with baseball, I got a friend that's crazy about his baseball bets where he like almost every day goes and tries to put together this parlay of which 5 guys are going to hit a home run that night. And I mean, sure, they're $8 bets that might pay off $400, but you don't ever win them. So
Right.
you're winning nothing. And it's just, and he's always like 1 home run short. It's the funniest thing. So, I mean, yes, there are people who are going to bet on everything. I just think that with the viewership, it's easier to find football games. It's you can, if you are having Sunday ticket or whatever, you can watch every single game and actually track it yourself rather than trying to find some random baseball game and refreshing the box score on ESPN app of maybe you get to see who hit the home run or not. True. I just think it's just I think it just seems more approachable.
Accessibility is
winnable.
important.
Yeah,
That's what
sure.
you brought up. Accessibility, the fact that these games are on CBS, Fox, NBC, stations that everyone has, whereas some baseball games are on some unknown station that is local to a region, and therefore you don't get it, or you have to get an app, in which case the apps often suck. I understand all that. But let me go to the next level of this question. Does football reign supreme, or is it just the NFL? What's your take on that?
Well, I have proof that it's football. But it is. I mean,
but before
now
we
the
hit
NFL,
record, I said the USFL is football and no one watches.
Well, the football meaning pro and college football, which you're going to hate this because I know you're not a college football guy, but it's football in general. Having said that, it is the NFL. The NFL is still a much greater percentage of it, but the drop off from people that say they watch football and people that say they only watch NFL football is not great.
Yeah.
You've got 51% of people in the United States that say they watch football, including entire football games. 43% say they watch NFL. So it's not a huge drop off. So you've got a large percentage of people that are watching pro and college ball.
But the USFL though, and I'm just using them because it's the only other football out there.
The USFL is not.
The XFL is merged with the UFL
right.
to create the USFL, and no one watches that either. Yes, I know St. Louis, they definitely support their team. Good for you. The DC Defenders, which is not far from me in Maryland, good for you. I did not watch 1 minute of USFL football, which tells me that just for me, it's not football reigns supreme. It is NFL and college football reigns supreme. Let's be specific.
So like the first season of when it's the UFL. It's the USFL and the XFL combined to be the UFL, right? Okay,
I don't know.
I was looking for my time machine to figure out. But so the first season when the UFL came back, the team in Arlington Renegades in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, they won it. Well, the stadium where they play at is 4 blocks from the stadium where the Cowboys play. I work in the middle of those two stadiums. I work across the street from the stadium where the Arlington Renegades play. I have no idea anything about them and would never go to a game.
So you agree with me, though?
I could go for free to any of their games, and I've never even remotely thought about it.
I mean, there was the Memphis Showboats, I think is their name. I wrote an article for the website, ffsn.com, about how they drew for a home game, 2,000 fans.
Did you set any download records on that article?
I didn't write it. No, probably not. But I mean, it was amazing to me that they said 2,000 people. That's it. 2,000 people. I mean, my gosh. I mean, it's insane to me. But I think you agree with me though. it's the NFL and college reign supreme in terms of football. It's not just football because everyone's like, well, it's the modern day gladiators, and I'm not disagreeing with you if you think that, but I'm saying that it's got to be the right product, and I don't think the spring leagues are the right product, at least not at this juncture.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I mean, you're talking about, I mean, even like your summer and winter Olympics are in the 32 to 35% viewership, and you're talking about those not happening every year. And so, in that kind of bleeding into sports that you don't get to see a lot, so it's exciting to see. It's also representing your country, so like everybody can feel included, and not just your territory and all. And those are in the 32 to 35% viewership, where football is 51%.
Yeah.
And then like you drop down to, basketball and baseball are basically tied at 31%. So it's, I mean, quite a bit larger for the football fan base and passion.
I mean, it is incredible when last season the NFL regular season averaged 17.5 million viewers per game, and that's a 2.2% decrease from the previous year. Their ratings actually went down in the regular season. They set a new record for the Super Bowl with 127.7 million viewers that watched the Chiefs and the Eagles play in the Super Bowl last year. And, you have all these other leagues. They're like, well, the NBA, they had a 22% increase. Like, they never add the actual numbers because they pale in comparison to what the NFL is doing. And the NFL is even taking over Christmas Day, which used to be an NBA thing. It's incredible. I know because I follow golf that golf is up significantly, at least on CBS, because they pump up their numbers all the time. But it's nowhere close to it. And so, I don't know, Wesley, football, college football. Do you have any college numbers there in front of you?
I do not.
Okay. I know they're really good though. Like college football has a lot of viewers, and I still think that college football could be better, could have more viewers if they didn't have those throwaway games into the schedule and they actually played, think about an NFL-like schedule, which yes, you get a bye week, so you have time off, but you play more big games. Like you talk about the SEC. If the SEC saw more LSU, I know that's your team, so we'll use them as an example. If LSU didn't have the cupcake games in the middle of their schedule for homecoming, where they're playing Lord knows who from whatever tiny little podunk town down south, then it would be more entertaining. I'd want to watch more games.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's what I was thinking about is, so if we have any of these contract debates or holdouts or any of that, is the NFL bulletproof? Are they going to be forgiven for anything? Is there, like, hockey still hasn't recovered from their, I mean, hockey was ascending in the early 2000s. Like, it's been 20 years now that they've been hurt. And I think the sport is better than ever right now in hockey. And they've never recovered from it.
I mean, I can remember a time when the NHL was right there with Major League Baseball is behind the NFL.
Yep.
And the Major League Baseball, when they locked out as well, they lost an entire season. I don't know if they ever really recovered too, because then it was a scandal after scandal after that. Hey, that's a tough question. If the NFL were to lock out, I don't think. Do you think they'd ever have a situation which we saw in the 70s where they actually had scab players come in and play games? I don't think it would ever.
They won't do that. They would not. They would miss games before they would do that.
Do you think we'd ever see another lockout where there's missed games in the NFL?
I mean, it's just one of those things that as the money keeps going up and up and up, when I think it becomes more realistic, because when you're talking about, like, a few years ago, we were talking about we're going to have a holdout to negotiate on, a total of whatever, $2 billion. Well, now we're talking about, like, we're wanting to have holdouts over $20 billion.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much. And so percentages of 20 billion and percentages of 2 billion are significantly different numbers, and for both sides. And I think it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's this next one, they're going to run into pretty high walls on both sides, I think.
If they're smart, they hit the negotiating table early. And the NFL owners want the 18 games. I get it. Okay, So even if you start negotiating early, that gives you more time to iron out the kinks, in my opinion. And then hopefully you don't have any lockout. The last
So,
time we had a lockout, shoot, I remember Drew Brees eventually standing up there signing the deal, and
yep,
everyone's like, finally. And they missed, I think, some offseason workouts. That was it.
yep.
Like, they didn't miss too much. So, yeah, I agree with you, though. The next one's going to be really challenging in a lot of
So
ways.
the negative and why they say they don't want to begin negotiating too early is it just actually leads to digging in deeper and more things that could hurt feelings, because the general consensus is that the only thing that solves these things is deadlines. And so if the deadline is 3 years from now, they don't want to start negotiating now because it just digs people in deeper for 3 years for whenever that deadline comes. Where if you wait till close to the deadline, I mean, nothing's going to get done before the deadline anyway, or after the deadline, or when actual negatives start occurring. So I see both sides of it. I hate it, and as a fan, I wish that it wasn't happening. But I think that there is a looming kind of potential problem. I do say you mentioned Major League Baseball and the NHL being so close, and I mean, Major League Baseball NBA was way down. They've come up way up in the last 30 years. But I think Major League Baseball maybe zagged too late with the pitch clock and the timing. They needed to, with what was going on, that people were not going to sit at 3.5 hour baseball games. The fact that they can have lots of games done in under 2 hours now is great. I'm wondering if they changed it too late to before the ratings already dipped and the attendance already dipped before making these changes.
Well, I think this is a good segue. I talked about the home run derby, and you could even go into NBA, like in terms of little events that I notice as an adult. I'm 42, so we're not too far off from age, you and me, Wesley, and I can remember for example, the All-Star game for the NBA, the slam dunk competition. You had some of the best players in the world that were trying to one up each other with the dunks. You had the 3-point competition. You had the best of the best participating. When you came to the home run derby, you had the best hitters in baseball putting on a flipping show, whether it was Ken Griffey with his hat on backwards, the big hurt Frank Thomas coming out there, and they were just pounding home runs. And I still remember they'd have people coming out giving them Gatorade. I watched a little bit of that home run derby, man, and it was like rapid fire. I can't even enjoy a home run because the pitch is already thrown to the next one, and they're just continually like hitting all these shots. It's different, and they're trying to change. And you mentioned baseball with the pitch clock, and they're going to be going into challenging balls and strikes. Is this just all just swinging to try and get something that hits and to try and find something that'll get people to care about the sport again? And the NBA also, we could talk about all-star festivities separate, but these changes that you brought up, do you think they're actually going to work?
I mean, I think it helps. I think that people want there's been from each sport so many different cheating or some sort of scandal that has been brought up or proven or worried about, where getting the calls accurate is going to be, I believe, important. I can't believe the NFL hasn't leaned more into that. And in fact, they started to act like they were going to and then went back the other way. I do think that whatever sport proves that they're going to get calls right is going to help the majority of the newer fans. I think some fans, the old school fans, are going to hate it and they don't want it to change, and human error is part of it and all that. I don't think the new generation is going to feel that way.
Yeah. And I think about a sport like hockey. You brought up hockey. It's actually in a good spot. You can't change hockey too much. There's really not a lot that can be changed anymore. If you go back to even the late 90s, the 2-line pass was still a thing. They got rid of that to increase the excitement. Unless they're going to expand the rink size and give them more of a European feel, which I don't think the game needs, they've made adjustments with the shootouts. There's no more ties and stuff like that. I don't know. These leagues are trying, and I give them credit for trying. But I think sometimes you just have to say, we need to make our game the best it could be, and then let's try to maximize it by highlighting the players that we have. And that's where, when you talk about the All-Star game, you said you watched 30 home runs. Did you know any of these players that weren't teams that you follow in the home run derby? I knew O'Neal Cruz, but really the big name players in baseball now, they were participating. Why are you not hitting? Like, why are you not participating in this stuff? I don't know.
I did. I knew the players in it, and like Kyle Raleigh, the season that he's having as a catcher, as being a switch hitter, and potentially going to break Mickey Mantle's all-time record for switch hitter home runs. Or I say potentially, if he stays healthy, he's going to shatter it.
Yeah.
A switch hitting catcher having 38 home runs at the All-Star break is insane. But yeah, I mean, I knew who some of them were, and I actually thought it would have been fun if Olsen, the Braves player, would have made it through a couple of rounds, because it's cool to see the home crowd kind of get all hyped about him and all. But I do think that the actual playing of the Major League Baseball All-Star game is superior to whatever the NFL and whatever the NBA is doing for an All-Star game. I think those are both a complete waste of time, and I don't want to see either one of them. But ain't nobody got an All-Star game like hockey.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you want to
the Four Nations? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. There's nothing like that. Viewership was amazing. Everybody loved it. And if I mean, obviously the NFL's never going to go to something like that. It's the opposite. But I tell you what, that's for whatever hockey's got done wrong and whatever they've lost, that Four Nations All-Star break is insane and awesome.
That's what happens when Gary Bettman, who's a moron, that the commissioner of the NHL, when he told players you can't participate in the Olympics anymore. So now, okay, you've given us an opportunity to now represent our country, where we grew up. In Canada, there is no other sport, all right? It's hockey. I'm telling y'all right now, it is hockey. And then the U.S. says, oh, you're hyping it up. We'll meet you there. And I just wish, and now I think they are letting the players participate in the Olympic Games again. And we might never get that vibe again, but that Four Nations tournament, dude, that was electric.
But you just sit there and, I mean, the mixture of your country and hockey and all, but like, hey, I can just see the players sitting there talking. They're booing our national anthem. Yeah. We're going to beat the shit out of every one of their starters. Like, okay.
We're going to come out
one at a time. One at a time, we are going to beat up each one of their starters.
And as an American, and I'm definitely proud to be an American United States citizen, it did suck that the U.S. beat Canada in Montreal. And then when the game was played in Boston, you're like, okay, here is it. Like, come on, guys, hunker down, beat the crap out of them. They lose the Four Nations. That was a gut punch for sure. And I know that injuries played a role, and I'm sure NHL teams were like, oh my gosh, I think it was a Bruins defenseman got injured. Like, what are you doing? You're right, though. You're right, though. And honestly, I've tried to say like what the NFL could do to make the Pro Bowl games better. I don't think you can.
No.
Because I don't think there's any way. Like the NHL doing the Four Nations, that is a unique spin on something that's great, making it even better because the players are buying in. I don't think there's any way that the NFL can do anything outside of let's just do skill stuff because I think the product is already great, meaning NFL games are already great. The Super Bowl is the culminating event of all culminating events. You can never top that, whereas some would say, I would say it, the Four Nations tournament was better than a lot of playoff rounds this year's Stanley Cup playoffs.
It was great. The skills thing, I don't know. I'm not necessarily a fan of the way they've done that either. Still too hokey. Like I'd almost like rather them just do like a veteran combine. Like let's just see who can. But I mean, I don't know. They also just need to probably just scrap it because I don't know if there is a way to save it.
Yeah, they're never going to scrap it, but I don't know. I don't need to see players playing dodgeball.
I don't
care
about NFL you can do a backflip onto a pad. I mean, like that's cool. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. But then again, I'm also the old man that says that the Nickelodeon games are trash and Slime Time is dumb. And if kids can't get into football because these guys are trying to kill each other, then maybe football's not for you.
You can give me the Manning cast though. I'll Manning cast over Nickelodeon anytime.
Well, what's your take on Pat McAfee?
I mean, he's a wrestling commentator.
I get it, but he does his own college football broadcast for big games. Him and his crew are standing on the sideline and they're announcing the games. He does his own. Sometimes they do football like different.
Yeah.
he's all over the place and he's different. I just didn't know what your take was.
I think that his brand, that's been good for him. I wouldn't probably watch it. I would be more interested. I think it's interesting what Barstool does, which is putting like 4 fans of each team that are playing against each other in a room and have them like talking trash and throwing things. And you see, like, I don't watch that live with it, but it's the best thing ever of when one team thinks they're winning and a guy's just going at it, and then like 2 minutes later, there's an interception or a missed field goal or something, and the other guy's just going back at him. And you get to see the guy who was just talking so much trash just like slump in his chair. Like, I think Barstool's done it good as far as watching the
live
competitiveness between,
yes,
people that like and hate each other. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, did you? And I've seen the highlights. I don't watch their live streams.
I don't watch them either, but I've seen the highlights are great.
The highlights last year's Commanders-Bears game, which the Hail Mary that was completed was incredible. Because that's a Chicago office that did it. And so you can tell the Bears fans are there and they're thinking they're going to win. And then, oh my gosh, it's the human reaction. And that's, I think, what Pat McAfee brings to sports is that, yes, he was a former player, but he also brings that human element to it where it's like, you know what? For those in Western PA, I'm a Yinzer too. I don't know if that, to me, it's a little fabricated.
I'm not doing this with you. I'm calling you out. What?
What?
Y'all signed Aaron Rodgers and now you're a Pat McAfee fan. Like, seriously, you've never I've never heard you say the word Pat McAfee before. And now he's the greatest podcaster.
When have we ever talked about Pat McAfee ever on
That's what I'm saying. We've never talked about him. Now y'all have got Aaron Rodgers and you're his best friend supporter. Yeah. I see what's going on here.
No. First, I've liked Aaron Rodgers' segment on Pat McAfee since when he was in Green Bay.
Even if I don't agree with what Aaron Rodgers is saying, or I think it's dumb that he is saying it, that's always been great. And again, it's one of those things that's smart because people that like or hate both of them watch that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But no, Pat McAfee, I can take him in segments. Like when he has basketball players on, I don't care.
Yeah.
He had LeBron James on for 2 hours and I watched 0 minutes of it. But if it's something I think is interesting, you know, when he had Rob Manfred on at the All-Star game, I listened to some of that because I wanted to hear what his take was on the salary cap. So he gets good guests. I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers, go Aaron Rodgers.
Did you guys sign PJ Watt yet?
No. Okay. No, not yet. $40 million a year. Get ready for it.
I hear he wants to play in black and gold.
Oh, you going to New Orleans, huh?
No.
He's not the rubber ducky yellow. All right, man. Good show. Wesley, tell us what we can find your all your stuff with the Saints and as well as on social media.
Yeah, you can find me on X at who.wesley13. You can hear me on the Dome Patrol podcast covering the Saints at Dome Patrol PCast on X or Dome Patrol podcast on all of your streaming platforms. I think we still have a couple more weeks of absolutely nothing going on, but there'll be some news soon. Where can we find you in your Steelers golf barbecue coverage?
Yeah, you can find me at jhartman, HARTMAN_PIT. Got the Open Championship coming up this weekend, so if you like some early morning golf, that's great for all those early morning viewers. If you want to wake up at 4 a.m. or even 1:30 if you want on Thursday and Friday to catch all of it. But I'll be talking about that, and check me out at Steel Curtain Network wherever you get your podcast. But Wesley, good show, man. We'll think of something to talk about next week.
Thank you, sir.
See you.